morning, Flosstube. It's Nerissa from Nerissa's Stitching Lifestyle in Christchurch, New Zealand. Welcome. Today is September the 8th, 2025. And this is Flosstube number 57. Wow. It blows me away every time. Can't believe I was so nervous to start these. I enjoy doing them, but so nervous to get started on these. I procrastinated for a few years. Crazy, isn't it? Alright, Sampelrs September, Sampelrs Array, Stash Sampler Start, Summer Sampler. I think that's the latest one. There's so many going on for September for sampler searching. There's one that everybody can do, and I've been doing a lot. I've had a few days off work, so you can imagine I've been up to a few things. So behind me, if I step this way, we've rearranged the wall, my sampler wall. So TV's gone up on the wall, juggled some samplers around. I'm still not 100% happy with it yet, but it's getting there. It's getting there. I've got a couple little gaps over here, but it depends on the one that I'm due to pick up from the framers. It's almost paid off, so yay. And I can't remember the length of it to move a couple around possibly to make that fit in, and then we'll start on the next wall over here is where they'll start going up on. Okay, so I will do a sampler wall video. We haven't done one for over a year. There's a few more up on there, so we'll do that. It will be coming, I promise. Okay, should we get on with the stitching, because that's what you're here to see, isn't it? See how much Nerissa got done on her days off. Let's say a lot. Let's just cover the basis. A lot. Okay, let's start with our red thread today. Or I do more than one red thread, but putting red thread into the project. So here is Harriet Salt from Hands Across Yhe Sampler, being stitched on 56 count cream Zweigat. I'm never organised. Organisation's gone out the window at the moment. Stitching it with soer 103 648, which is a real burgundy. So we're down the bottom, and this is where I've been working on the last few days. This is what I stitched last week. So this is not quite at the bottom there, it's got a little bit more to come down, but this is the last of the rows. There's one more little row. We've got 1, 2, 3 to go there, and then a little row, and then it is these parts coming back this way. And then in here is just more words for Harriet, so I wanted to leave that to the end. But I am loving how this is coming out. So on track at the moment, fingers crossed, to finish by the end of September. That is my goal, and I think we'll get there, because even if I only get a row or a motif or part of a motif done every day, like I said, it's for the words don't take long, because the letters, they don't take long. So I cannot wait. Absolutely loved stitching on Harriet. She's a blast. So if you haven't done one, she is a big girl, but she is lovely. And I do have plans for the rest of the pattern, for what I want to do, and I'll talk about that more later on. Okay, my other red thread, which I started for Stash Sampler Start, so this was started on the 1st of August, was, where's my book? Yeah, Louisa Kulamore, another Bristol sampler from Hands Across Yhe Samplers. So she's been stitched on 56 count as well in the cream, so exactly matching fabric, matching thread. So also being stitched with soer 103 in colour number 648. And here is my Louisa. So we've got quite a bit done on Louisa. There is actually pretty true to the colour of what it looks. I know it looks really dark in the photos that I take, and I know sometimes it blows out really dark, but it is a burgundy. So it does give that illusion of darkness and light, but yeah, I love it. Love the colour. Okay, so here is across the side, which we'd reached last time. So then I've still got another couple of letters to go in this row here, but I want to come down, and I'm not quite at the bottom yet. This is where I was working on this morning. I finished this little one here, and then this I'd already done this part the day before. So I'm kind of missing some little bits in between, and the reason why is because I want to get to the very bottom, because this still has, it's like we can weave a bed sheet, several layers of fabric. So where are we? This one here is where I, oops, sorry for that glare, where I stitched this morning. So we've still got 1, 2 more full rows, and then the Bible, and then that's the bottom. So that means I can actually cut that off, because when I finish Harriet, Mary will be next, and she'll just start. So I'm going to have the 2 going at the moment, but that one won't take long to get. This will then become the main one, and the other one just gets 1 thread, or yeah, mostly 1 thread, sometimes 2 if I want to push through and finish. And that one, yeah, definitely I got 2, got that one there finished, and then I was like, well, I'll start this one, and ran out of thread. So there we go, there is Louisa. So not bad for just over a month stitching, and she won't take long to finish either. She'll be done by the end of the year, well and truly. I'll make it happen. Okay. And the floor is for normal. And that is Louisa's bag. Alright, so I'm going to show you my sampler whips that I've worked on first, and then we will talk about my sampler starts, and then Christmas stitching, because I've done a wee bit of that as well, because sometimes you just got to give the brain a bit of a break. So I have worked on 3 of my whips, other than those 2 guys. 1, 2, 3. Yep, 3 of my sampler whips, and then 3 starts. Okay, so here is my book. Alright, having changed everything around, I'm going to get used to the new configuration. Mary and Diaper, Hands Across the Sea Sampelrs. This is the one with the big beautiful pink flowers and stuff in the middle. It's gorgeous. Now Mary is my only sampler that I'm stitching on 36 count, using a fabric that I dyed myself, and I'm using DMC threads. Lots of lovely colours in Mary. So Mary is one I want finished this year as well. And here is where I'm at with Mary. Now I said these boards were A3, but they're actually A2 size. So they're a little bit bigger than, so what's that, double A4 and then double A3 to get to that size. So she's a big girl. And that's really her colour tone, so she's real brown, tan colour with pink blotches all through her, and darker brown here and there, but mostly the pink, as you can see. So what did we work on? Okay, so we did some more 1/1 lettering up here. We finished off in the sentence here, and then came down and learned to, and then the V here. So I'm trying to do a thread or 2 in the over 1 now that we're getting to that over halfway stage. So we did that, but down here in the main piece we have put in the 2 trees, matching trees on each side, the 2 little birds, one here and one here. I finished off filling in both this big flower here, it only had the outline, This one here had half the white done and it just needed the white being finished. I then went back in and I had the outline of these leaves, so they're now filled in, and I did all the leaves on this side. So this whole centerpiece now is completely finished. I came down and I put in this blue basket on this side as well. So Mary got quite a bit of stitching. Like I said, I concentrated on 3 samplers over the last sort of 10 days. So they've had quite a chunk of stitching on each one, which is quite nice. And you will see these guys again quite regularly. Okay, so we've got to put this one on this side. This gets mirrored down here, and then this comes down over here as well. So those 3 things get repeated. There is, and this is why I'm trying to finish the stuff at the top, because there is all this 1/1 wording here. I don't think I'm going to put that in. All it says is Mary and Diaper is my name, and in this I wrote the same. And by this you plainly see what care my parent took of me, aged 8 years. So I'm going to put Mary Ann's name in it. But I'm just going to add in some more birds and stuff. I'm not going to do all that wording. I don't think it needs it. I think actually taking it away and simplifying the sampler a little wee bit, not having it so busy right here, will work for a nice balance. We'll decide when we get to it, but definitely that is my thoughts at this stage. We need to get on with getting that border finished too. But 1/1 is the challenge that's on at the moment with Mary. Okay, so that was, like I said, that was definitely a good 2 or 3 evenings of working on her. Okay, next one I have is another one that I'm aiming to finish, and they sinned by Examplars from the Heart. And as you know, we've done all this apart from a couple of little things in here, and we're down in the sea of green down here, and that is literally what I've worked on, is the sea of green. We'll turn it over. Here's the top part. Let's get some new boards. And now the right sizes. Here's the top part. Here is the bottom part. Okay. So, sea of green. That was it. Needle after needle after needle. But we've brought it down a bit more. So we've done a few more rows of just the first green, because remember this has 2 greens in it. And as you can see quite clearly where the second colour isn't, and then you can see where I've been with the second colour being filled in. So we've brought it over. We were halfway through the tree here. It may not seem like much, but it's seriously a lot of stitches. They're 2 stitches wide, and each stripe comes of course diagonally across the picture, and on average using about 4 lengths of thread to go from the top all the way down to the bottom here. So there is definitely a wee bit. So yeah, real boring stitching if you like, but great when you want to watch a movie and kind of not really concentrate. Just load up 7 or 8 needles, whatever I've got sitting there spare, and I just go for gold, put them in the pin cushion and use one, finish it, grab the next one, use one, finish it, then load them all up again. Great trick for when you want to do fill. So yes, loving this, can't wait. Still a lot of stitching to go, but definitely pleased with how this is going. There you go, the sea of green, and there'll be more sea of green today. That's why I wanted to film today. I wanted to while this is uploading, just that's it, nice easy things to sit and just do the fill. Okay. Whoops, and it just ripped the edge of that. And then my next whip. I do feel like I'm all over the place today, sorry guys. My next whip that I worked on is another big girl. She's another one that I want to get finished this year. So Sarah Brazier, 1829. She was Queen of the May in 2018. Now somebody asked me on one of my questions from last Flosstube what Queen of the May is. So Queen of the May is done by Hands Across Yhe Sampelrs. They pick a sampler every year that to them is something big and special. Might have specialty stitches in it, but it's a very beautiful sampler. We've had lots of them. This was the first one, I believe 2018. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nicola, but I'm sure it was. And every year in May there's a new one that comes out. So they chose, it used to be a limited edition, not so much anymore. Most of them you can still get. This one you can't unless a needle workshop has got it. But this big beautiful deer, as you know, is gorgeous. This is the one with all the satin stitches in it. So this has been going for a while and we are making good progress. This is stitched on 56 count, 1/2 using DMC threads. Here is, if we come back, here is the full picture. And I got quite a bit done on this. I worked on up the top here. So last time this bird here wasn't there. She has gone in completely. All these little wee ones you see around, they all went in. The butterfly and the bird here were missing, so I put them in. I basically went back through on this top section and there were a few little wee bits and pieces that I'd missed, so they've all gone in now and been filled in. I then came down here and put these, I had half, I think this bird in but not this one, so he got stitched in, and then all of this got stitched in. This bird here, the peacock, he got finished, his tail needed finishing, and part of the inside of him. Come down, this tree here needed the yellow on the tops. We've done all the green and the brown, but we needed to finish the yellow off. This deer here has been put in, and then I went back up and I started up here. So this is flower vine that comes twisting around and it needs to have its flowers on. I also put in all the blue in through here in the stand and down here. So that is going to be literally the pretty similar to this side. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. Over here. Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to, once that's done, then I'll come in and I'll do this and the two birds which go here. Then what have we got? We got a little bit of 1/1 wording. So I'd like to ideally finish this section coming up over the next few weeks, but we'll see. I'm not going to pull out as many whips as I normally do because I want these guys finished, these particular three, plus Harriet, of course, so 4 samplers finished. I've still got my starts that I'm going to do, and I'll show you those, the ones I have started and what's still coming up. I've added another couple in just because that's what happens when I start starting things. But these guys I want finished. And when I actually sit down and work on them properly for it, instead of just two evenings, I actually put 4 evenings in, I can get quite a bit done. So I'm going to do that. So you're not going to see as many whips, but you are going to see a lot of stitching on those particular whips. So there we go. We're slowly getting there. We've still got a lot to go. Still got a lot of satin stitch to do. But I really want to get this top section done, because then I can do the satin stitches and I know that that's all finished. And we haven't got that much to go on the bottom really. It's just this part here. Repeat it back over here. And then finish the border. Flowers, a bit of the border, flowers, and then it is literally satin stitch. Good boy. So there you go, there's Sarah Brazier. And she has a home ready for up on the wall, on the other wall is where she's going to go. She won't be up on this one behind me, she'll be on the other one. But she's beautiful. And I'm going to say that about all my projects, okay? Right, so I'm just going to put that there. Okay, so that was my whips. Like I said, not many, but lots of progress on the ones I did work on. Okay, so my new starts. Should we do that next? Now they may be out of order because that's just the way my brain works sometimes. Righty ho. And this one here, Anais Curveur 1896, which is the Reflex de Soir stitch along. I'm doing with Susie and Anna and Jude. I think Tanya, you started it too. I know there's quite a few people who have jumped in as well, a few other Australians, but I just can't remember who you all are, sorry guys. But I love the sampler. So when I started this was on Friday, not Friday, just been the one before, and that was when the other ladies were at the Daisy Chain Retreat. I'm gonna need a board, hold on a moment please. Okay, found the board. So I started on that Friday, and this is what I've stitched. Sorry, I'm not going to pin it up because, like I said, I've run out of boards. I started in this top center flower, and that was kind of the first day was that part. Then I come along and put this brown curve that goes around and with the flower border. And I thought, well, to make it easier to mark off where I'm at and to remember that's the top, I put the first row of words in. So I'm stitching mine up with DMC threads. This is a piece of 40 count that I've dyed myself. And I love how those colours are coming out. So, this little flower here, right in the middle is where I started. Gosh, sorry, that is quite a bad reflection, isn't it? But nicer, deep, dark colours. Compared to all the faded ones that I normally use. So very beautiful, loving it. I think we're doing a stitch date. Honestly, I can't remember. There's so many new Instagram chat group things at the moment that I can't keep up with what one I'm actually... What's for what project. Get there. I think it's the Honour Thy Parents is what we called it. A little stitchy group. So there we go. There was new start number 1. That was on the Friday. On the Monday, I was off work. And I decided I was studying MH 1656, My Beloved's Gift. This is a long band sampler from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. This is absolutely gorgeous. It does take a little bit slower because it's not 1/2, it is 1/3 for most of it. I'm using the DMC threads only because adding in all of those silks was just out of the budget, and I like working with DMC. And Nicola does a really good job of matching colours. So this is on a piece of 40 count. Oops, sorry guys. That I've dyed myself. It is a real faded yellowy brown, or yellowy tan, I guess you would say. Bored. And the colours do show up on it. Just you've got to remember, they're not filled in yet. So this is right at the start. If I probably tilt it there, you can see them. So here's the blue band for the first. And I think we're about halfway across. So then I thought, well, I'm not going to sit there and count how many things. I'll go down to the next row. Now the next row has browns and yellows. And it's double running stitch. But it's two colours. So to get it to balance, you kind of have to do a little bit, then come back for the second colour and fill in that, like browns there, yellows there. The next one goes along, comes down, and it's brown up top, yellow underneath. The little bits in between here get filled in with satin stitch. So once that's done, it'll stand out a lot more as well. And it, like I said, it does stand out perfectly in person. So I love that, but it's just taking me a little bit longer because I have to remember to count 3 holes, not 2. So this is a definite long-term project. Like that, you really can't see it. But when I look at it in person, it's perfect. Okay, so that was my start for the Monday. And I think that's actually start number 6. Because I'm doing more than just the Fridays. Okay, so then on Friday, just been, I had another start. And this one is called Heart in Home Patchwork from Blackbird Designs. So one that you can do is 5 separates and join them to make one sampler. Lee from Creative Lee is stitching this as well. There's a few others as well, but Lee is. And she dyed her piece of fabric to have slightly different colours, so it looks like it's a patchwork. I didn't. It comes from the book A Heart Remembers by Blackbird Design. So if you're looking for it, this is the book you want. Okay, I'm stitching mine DMC threads. And I am doing mine on Vintage Country Mocha 40 count. And this was my start on Friday. So this is the whole width of the first one, because it comes in 5 different pieces. And this here is not quite the bottom. There is still a little bit more to go. We got to do one more curve and then a pot hold. So it's going to come down about there. And there's my alphabet. There's birds, blackbirds are here, pot. So I'm quite happy with that. That was a good little wee start. I haven't picked it up since then, but it will come back out. So I love that. Beautiful. Okay, so that was the last of my starts for Stash Sampler starts for the last 3 weeks. Okay, should we do what I've got coming up before we jump into Christmas? Let's do that while we're on the sampler run. Okay, so Stash Sampler starts for the next 3 weeks, and I haven't decided what is kind of next 3 Fridays, sorry, what order they're going to be in. But I'm just going to remind you what they are. Okay. So one of the ones, probably the biggest one that's coming up, is the traditional sampler, which is absolutely gorgeous. Now this is from the Family Circle Cross Stitch magazine, which was printed in 19 something. It's an old magazine, but you should be able to get it on the second-hand market. There's lots of lovely things in here. Not necessarily the lovely colours. I know, Lee, you like orange, but I don't think even you would do that one. Have a look. I did find it in here at one stage. 1993. There we go. That's when it was copyrighted. But this is another sort of beautiful big traditional Dutch sampler. There's a lot of motifs are very similar in this to Dutch Beauty. Okay, so that is ready to be started. Not sure what order. Okay, the next one is another big sampler, Elizabeth Bevan, 1835, from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. And this is very unusual for me. It's like a lot of greens and browns, blues, little bit of pink. But I love all the little wee motifs in it. You know, there's a boy and a girl in the chairs, there's animals in the borders. There's a person riding a horse, there's the church, there's the house, there's the ground, you know, there's just so much going on. And it's not until you actually stop and really look, like when you first glance, you think, oh, pretty. But when you look at all the animals by my finger and through the border, this is just gorgeous. So, like I said, not sure which Friday Elizabeth's going to be started in over the next 3. Okay, we also have blackbird designs come into my garden. I've had this stashed for such a long time. While I had my time off work, I cleaned up my bedroom, but I also cleaned up the wardrobe where 3/4 of my stitching was. And oh my gosh, seriously, I do not need to buy another pattern. Don't hold me to that. But I actually collated things back to where they needed to be instead of having bags and pockets of this just stacked up all through the wardrobe. My project bags are back on the shelves, everything. The way I originally set it up, put it this way. So I found lots of kitted projects. So definitely. So those 3 are for stash sampler starts. That's not the end of it though, guys. That was kind of really sad. I filled up a chest of drawers. And it's a big chest of drawers. It's got 2 big drawers, you know, a metre, not quite a metre long, and they're both chocker, and 2 half a metre drawers, and that is just patterns. I have a problem, but don't tell. Okay, so since I got gifted a pattern I showed you last time in Morrison, I am starting this on the 1st of October with my friend Judith. She's had it, she bought it when it first came out, so she's had it for a while. So we are both going to be starting this on 1st of October. So that will be started. Now the same friend Judith has lent me this one pattern for I do not know how long. And I'm sorry Judith, I haven't stitched it. So she is getting started too. Sometime over the next few weeks, maybe even today, I don't know. But she's going to be started because she's actually very sweet little wee stitch. And I want to get this pattern back to you. So 2 more. So another sneaky stash start to start, and then October the 1st for Anne Morrison. So that's another 2 starts coming up. Okay, that is probably it for stash starts, it for my samplers, apart from one thing. I finally had time to watch The Running Stitcher. Andrew, oh my gosh, love your work, Andrew, excellent. And I'm like, I keep hearing everybody talking about this, you know, 10 threads for every mile he runs and stuff like that, or 10 stitches, sorry, for every mile he runs. I'm like, that's like, you know, 5 minutes work. That's not going to get, you know, no. Anyway, I was watching his thing, and then I had a look at his call up for his start of his training for his next marathon. And he did 31 Ks last week. So I thought, okay, that's pretty good. If you're averaging about 30 Ks, if I average 30 threads on a project for the week, that's going to get me somewhere. More than just the extra 10 stitches or per mile. So I went back to my lovely tidy wardrobe can hear a cat playing. And I picked a sampler that I haven't really stitched on this year, that I would like to see finished. And it's not that I don't like her, it's just she's one of those ones that I'll get back to you, I'll get back to you, and I just haven't pulled her out. So she is going to be my marathon stitching one. So for every mile, sorry, that Andrew runs, I am going to put a thread in to this sampler. And the sampler I am talking about, I bought this from the group. I know it is available now, but it is Wild Iris Naps Designs and Mary Gypson, 1828. And I haven't stitched on her this year at all, which is really sad because she's so beautiful and I'd love to see her done. So I thought, right, definitely an older whip. So I'm going to show you where I'm at, because I have 30 threads to catch up on from last week, let alone what, I've got the hiccups there, let alone what he is stitching now. So here is my starting point on Mary Gypson. So she's coming into rotation as well. Like I said, she's going to be my 30 threads. Or if he only does 20 miles, then it'll be 20 threads. But this is going to be my running stitch sampler. So there we go. So we've got quite a lot to go yet. So 30 threads, I reckon, a week, or at least 30 threads just catching up from last week, will make a big difference. Okay. Now everything's going to all fall out. Rightio, that is definitely it for the samplers. Okay, so it's September. And as you know from my previous video, Christmas is on its way, guys. It's not that far away, which is really scary. And I've hardly stitched any ornaments this year, which is really naughty. I love stitching my Christmas ornaments. So the other day, I pulled out all my Christmas ornaments that I've got partly stitched. And I went, I love them. I like them. I wanted to do them. But it wasn't the kickstart I needed to get going on my ornaments. So, I went through my PDFs. And I pulled out a PDF from Jingle Ball. Last year. Jingle Ball 2024. From Hands On Designs. Now this is black and white, and I do apologise for that. And it's Deck the Halls. Now these are very beautiful. So I started these 2 Fridays ago. Yes, and I finished them last night. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to need something to put behind them. Oh, hold on one moment. Found it. Okay. So, here we go. Here is my 3 new ornaments that are fully finished so far. Fully stitched, sorry, so far. So we have the horse, the bird, and then the angel. Now I love these. I love the colours of these. Hands On Designs do beautiful Christmas ornament. And I've been waiting for these. They were part of a Christmas box with Garon's stitchery a couple of years ago, and then they came out last year. And because it was a PDF, and I do this quite often when I buy a PDF, I love my PDFs, because especially when you're down at the bottom of the world, it's a bit hard to get samplers at a reasonable, all samplers, but hard to get patterns at a reasonable price. We are a little bit dearer. So I quite like buying the odd PDFs. I love them. So 3 ornaments started and finished we'll now go over to the table of fully finishing to be done. They weren't the only ones I started. The next 3 I started were from the Tiny Modernist Stitches ornaments. Now these are gorgeous. This is a borrowed pattern, and I need to get it back to the person. She lent it to me last Christmas and I finally got them started. So I have the spool, which still needs 1 more colour. I have my tomato and its little strawberry, which just need 1 more colour of red. And this is the start of the sewing machines. So I'm going to fill in the little mystery bits in the sewing machine, then I'll do the outline. And then that is great stitching for when you don't really want to concentrate, just the filling. So those 3 are next up on the list to be done. So 6 starts, 3 finishes. That got me going. So I then pulled out some of my older Christmas whips. And another one that I pulled out, older one, was the Christmas Cone series by Keslet. And these are gorgeous. So, working on Believe at the moment, and I want to do it's the most wonderful time of the year as well. And I think I'll do these, but I might not do them yet. I haven't decided, but I definitely want these 2. And I have the beautiful fabric for it. So I'm stitching these on 40 count red rose from number 12 Stitch Co. This is the fabric. And it's a real deep red. It's beautiful. And here is where I'm at. Now, when I pulled it out, I had the bee half done. Like it was all the 1 strokes for the bee. I had to go back and do the second way. I had the E and part of this curl here. So I finished the B, done the L, the I, and the V, and the rest is curl. So there's another E there and an E there. And then we've got a tree. Christmas tree goes on this side, and then there's stars at the top to give it the height. And I'm using DMC 3865. 1 strand over 2. So love that. That is gorgeous. So definitely pushing through to get that done. Okay. Then I was putting something else away, and my yearly Santa fell out of the box. I didn't know where he was. I hadn't been able to find him for a little while. And preschooler Christmas Santa, and as you know, if you've been following me for a while, I stitch these every year. And normally I stitch it as soon as it comes out. And I started it, and then of course it got caught up with something, and it didn't get finished. But we are almost there. Sorry, that glare is terrible, isn't it? There we go. We're just going to poke the needle glasses on, so we hope we get a hole. Needle through the back, and when I say I'm nearly done, I am nearly done. So here is where he is now. And before I had the green, the boots done. Half of the bag of snowballs didn't have the snowflake on it, so it's kind of from my thumb up. Outline of his jacket, and that was it. So I have put in the snowballs, I've put in Santa's face, his hat, the outline border, the snowflake, finished the bag off. We've done all of this red stitching coming up and finishing here, and then it's just got the words, which are "Oh what fun it is," which are here and here, and then he will be finished as well. So he will be finished over the next few days. So literally just do a big run of thread, do it, throw it aside at the moment. So that's just not too bad, not too shabby for that. But it definitely got me going on my Christmas stitching, which was really, really pleasing. I was so happy to get some of it done. Okay, So like I mentioned earlier, some of my friends were over at Daisy Chain Retreat in Australia. I didn't go this year, couldn't afford to go, that's just life. But my friends brought me back a few little wee gifts. So while they were there, I believe it's with the housemates, if I remember right. And I know Susie will tell me if I'm wrong. And so will Jude. But Susie brought me the pattern for the Mojo stitches. We're up in the cherry, is it Burrows? And this is gorgeous. It's one of her, I believe, newer releases. So we're going to be doing this as a stitch along next year for January the 1st. And Anna, thank you Anna, gave me some fabric to do it on, 40 count fabric. It's called Beaver Grey Linen. Excuse me. It's a Whoopsie Daisy Designs fabric, and it has a beautiful little wee bee charm that came with it. So that is what this will go on, and then I believe we're getting some silks to do this with as well. So can't wait to start that. So that was lovely. That was a lovely gift. Thank you so much, ladies. And I do wish I had been able to go, but we'll see. You never know what's going to happen. Right, looking around, I think that is everything I have stitched on in the last 10-11 days, whatever it is. Not quite a fortnight. I have to go back to work tomorrow. Bummer, eh? That's right, we'll be back to just normal stitching. It's okay. Alright, so what am I going to do going forward? We're going to work on those samplers. There's 3, 4, 5, 6 samplers plus the new starts that'll come in. There'll definitely be 2 over the next fortnight. It won't be quite a fortnight when I film next. I'll work it out into the thing. Because it's a specific day I like to do it. Okay, so we'll get that done. I will try and film the wall behind me. So you can all have a good look at those. And see what ones I remember, what I don't. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So remember, 1 stitch at a time, we'll get our samplers stitched. 1 stitch at a time, we'll get our Christmas ornaments stitched. 1 stitch at a time, we'll get any of our projects done. So happy stitching, everybody, and we'll see you in 10 days to 2 weeks. Bye. Cindy, say hi. Hi, everybody. Hi, I'm Sanim. I like to leave my cat fur all over Mum's stitching and run away with her silks because they're my toys. Hey. We don't like being picked up too much. Hey, you want to say hi? No?